Hey friends, this is Chris.
Yeji.
Welcome back to the channel. So we got to talk about some breaking news that's coming out and have a conversation about it. I'm concerned about Musk and Trump and essentially breaking up our alliances and who are they getting closer to. So we had this report earlier where Musk is making phone calls and contacts with Putin on a regular basis, which is kind of odd. On top of that, you have just coming out today, Musk is calling the German chancellor a fool. On top of that, you have Trump, who's sort of questioning the alliance and current relationship in Korea, here, South Korea. And now there's a report today that Musk is pulling out production of Starlink from Taiwan. And if you understand the original report when Musk was talking to Putin, rumor was that Putin wanted Musk to essentially disable Starlink in case that China were to invade Taiwan. This is what Musk had to say about the relationship between China and Taiwan.
Their policy has been to sort of reunite Taiwan with China. From this standpoint, maybe it's analogous to like Hawaii or something like that, like an integral part of China that is arbitrarily not part of China. Mostly because of the U.S. U.S. Pacific Fleet has stopped any sort of reunification effort force.
And of course, Taiwan is very concerned about this kind of situation. And you have this other thing trending on Chinese social media. Remember, China wants to take back Taiwan. Essentially, Chinese internet users are wondering if Musk has some sort of foresight, thinking that it's going to be a reunification. I don't know, but these kind of things are concerning. And lastly, you have this to where like Musk is bragging that he's really, really awesome at Diablo video game. I kind of wondered when I first heard that is he really playing Diablo all that much, or is he using the quote Diablo time to cover up for doing other things? I don't know. Ask Musk. Anyway, I want to go through this stuff. My wife and I have a conversation about relationships around the world regarding Musk and Trump, and have a listen. We got to talk about the relationship between Korea and the USA. So what's going on right now these days?
So they just had a phone call. So I think Yoon's gonna meet the Trump before he takes the office. And the Trump mentioned about he help from Korea, like the shipbuilding industry.
Right.
But it's like I don't want to help them. You pay us, then we can fix it whatever you want.
So what do you think about Trump? What are people saying now?
I don't know what other people think, but my opinion, it's like mafia gangster.
Oh, in what way?
Oh yeah, you have a like beautiful family,
Yeah.
and I heard that you got some money.
Yeah, and it'd be a real shame if anything happened to your family or money.
Yeah.
So as we're here in like nice Busan, right, in Korea, why are we worried about Trump being a gangster?
I feel like gangsters come to your like storehouse. Oh, I think you need my protection, so you need to pay me some money.
Yeah.
And you look rich, you pay
Yeah.
me more than other people, right?
Right.
And plus, I have a weapon, so you have to buy some
Right.
to protect yourself. But my weapon's kind of old and rusty, and sometimes
Right.
not working. But you should buy. Not should. You have to buy some.
And it would be a real shame if like we started a war with someone else and you didn't have any weapons to protect yourself. That would be a real shame. You got a nice family.
And I told you before, and you got some skills, so you gotta help me for free, I think.
Trump is also asking like for Korea's help on stuff. What was he talking about?
Yeah, like you guys, like army ship is getting old,
Right.
But we have a kind of almost #1 shipbuilding industry in Korea. So
Right.
he mentioned about that. Oh, maybe we can work. I think he says the help. But I don't want to help you. You pay me money and you can fix it whatever you want.
Yeah, the way he says is like,
Yeah.
yeah, I got this old ship sitting in the backyard there, and you got lots of time, right?
You have skills, so just come fix it.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to. And you pay me, then we help. We do our job.
Right. So we just wanted to give you a different perspective that you probably don't hear that often in USA, right? Because it's a different version of the story. So people often ask like, okay, what if America just left? Do you want us just to leave, etc.? It's actually mixed. Not everyone wants the Americans to stay. Not everyone wants the Americans to leave, right? It's not a, how can I say, a clear answer. I think younger people are very different than older generations.
Yeah, but it's all mixed, I think.
Even among young people.
I think so.
Okay, okay. One of the things that I know was in Europe, and I can't speak to Japan or Korea because that's different as well. Because there's actually a strong contingent of Japanese who are very anti-war and very, we say, pacifist because of their history coming out of World War II. They just, there's a strong contingent that not everyone in Japan, but there's a strong contingent that don't want any military at all. But then there's also a strong contingent, but they're much smaller that like we need to rise up and be powerful like we once were. And I bring the subject of Japan up because when we talk about, say, what's happening with North Korea, what happened in China, and then the Trump situation, this is the question: like, do we want to be, friends with China or not, or do we want to be friends with the USA or not? Now, Trump coming in the office has actually pushed the Koreans away a bit. You want to talk about that? We're talking about trade.
Yeah, but it's not just Korea, right?
Right. And it's not just Korea, but I just want to give the perspective of it because, like,
He wants to increase the tariff.
the tariffs.
Yeah, tariff. But if he does that, other countries not gonna say, okay, you increase the tariff, so we just pay you more. It's not gonna be like that.
Right.
Your product expensive, we're not gonna use yours. We're gonna
Right.
trade with others. Not you.
Well, it's either trade war to where you're going to raise it on us, we're going to raise it on
It's yours.
Right. So one of the things that we've been talking about now is like, well, if USA is going to charge us more, we're just going to trade with China.
One, I punch you one, I punch you two, I punch you.
Yeah, so that's trade war, but or just like I don't want to fight with you, Trump. I just want to go trade with China. Because like for example, guys, what if we decide that hey, we don't need Teslas. We're just going to buy BYDs from China. And in fact, BYD is coming here. We haven't seen them yet. They're supposed to be here by the end of the year. But this is something that, again, the Americans don't think about that much. They just think, oh, evil China, and then don't think about the ramifications. Like, actually, you don't know this in the last video. It's very interesting. So Trump's concept is that we're going to raise tariffs, right? If you don't want to pay the tariffs, bring your factories to us. Okay? No, just listen. Yeah. So Steve Madden came out in the earnings report. They're moving their factories. About 45% are moving around. Okay, so they're going to move them out of China, 45% of them, but they're not going to come to the USA. Where do you think they're going to go? Any guesses?
Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam.
India.
Yeah.
Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Yeah, Cambodia was on the list as well, but you get it, right? Yeah.
And I just thought about
so it's not really according to Trump's plan. Yeah.
So in the Vietnam, other countries like car and like import products, they taxes 100%.
Oh, right. That's true.
Sometimes you need a product, you need some car, particular stuff, but you have to pay double.
Well,
so when you have money, it's kind of, you have to buy that, but taxes double, so you have to pay.
So what Yeezy's referring to is like some items are luxury, right? So in Vietnam, foreign goods on like kind of luxury items are really expensive, right? Let's say something like food.
Not even Nike shoes.
Oh yeah. Well, okay, yeah.
Not even luxury stuff.
That's fair. You're right. I was trying to put it in terms of like, I don't know how to. We can call it discretionary spending is the right word. So it's not luxury in this terms of like correct Gucci, but Nike's not like food. I don't need it. So it's how you define need, luxury.
Yeah, or like TV.
Right.
Pay, this tax is 100%, so you have to pay double.
Right. So it's actually funny talking about the Vietnam situation when we were there. True story. I'd never seen so much Russian vodka before in my life. Because like in USA we don't really have Russian products like that, right? So because they have different trade barriers or trade agreements with Russia than the Americans would, right? You'll just see different products there. But going back to the Trump situation, the numbers is he's saying 60% on China, okay, and then 10% on all the other countries, which is a bit nuts because like a country say like Korea we should just be a free trading partner, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? You could argue with that with Japan.
Yeah, you should make more strong alliance.
Yeah. So that's some of the things that we've been talking about here.
Try to friend with like Putin right now. So
Yeah.
oh.
And Trump brags about for being friends with Kim Jong-un.
I got along very well. North Korea, Kim Jong-un, I got along very well with him. The press hated when I said that. How could you get along with him? Well, you know, it's nice to get along with somebody who has a lot of nuclear weapons or otherwise, isn't it? See, in the old days, they'd say, that's a wonderful thing. Now they say, how could you possibly do that? But no, I got along with him, and we stopped the missile launches from North Korea. Now North Korea is acting up again, but when we get back, I get along with him. He'd like to see me back, too. I think he misses me, if you want to know the truth.
So that's not very popular here to say that, right? So to Americans, the Americans will say, "Oh yeah, see, Trump is strong." Actually, today on the and you never know if these are real people or robots. You just don't know. Today I saw that Putin was complimenting Trump.
В момент покушения на его жизнь, я не знаю, но на меня произвело это впечатление. Он мужественный человек оказался.
He said that Trump is a courageous man and act like a man would. He's a man. It was something like that. And it was funny when you read the comments. People are like, "Oh yeah, look how awesome Mr. Trump is, and look how he's friends with Putin, and he's going to end the war." And they're like, I don't know if that's a real person, American or a Russian bot. I don't know, because what it really means is that Putin's going to say, "Mr. Trump, would you please remove American soldiers and everyone out of Europe and quit giving weapons and let us just take over the continent. Let us take over Europe." And Trump's like, "Oh yeah, please do." There were reports that Russia was using Musk's technology, the Starlink thing. Musk would claim it's through black market or and then the thing that we would say, well, why don't you just turn it off? Because he theoretically could, and then he just like, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, theoretically they could have American-made weapons. I don't know, so I can't verify that at all. But the other thing I want to talk about, talking about the negotiations with Trump and the President Yoon on the American military base is an interesting concept. So Trump basically says, hey, you guys have to pay more money, basically, right? From my understanding, the Biden just made an agreement, and the basic agreement is that the Koreans will pay for the bases, essentially. So they're going to set up the land, set up the buildings, get all of the maintenance, these kind of things. And then the Americans will pay for the soldiers and the weaponry, okay? And it's something that I think people don't talk about enough, is this is just how it is. I've told you guys this several times, that the government's essentially controlled by Wall Street and by the military, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes we say military-industrial complex, but it's the military. And if you were to, cut the military, these kind of things, and you could, right? Because Musk has been talking about this stuff, and I'm just saying you totally could. You remember, these are actually American jobs.
Yeah, so
Because that's right. What's that?
What they're gonna do after the kind of fired a lot of soldiers.
Theoretically, yeah, theoretically you could. Then
It's a decent pay job.
yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad. You could also, cut making weapons, right? Because then you have all the, because like, if you guys don't know this, but I mean, we make weapons in various states. So there are going to be several representatives and senators that have an interest in keeping making weapons, right? So I've talked about this topic several times. It is a very complicated topic because pacifist means not want to fight. So I'm not a pacifist, but I don't necessarily think that we need to build, weapons forever. I don't, so there's a balance there. And you guys may not know this. Americans sell weapons all around the world. They make us buy them here in Korea. They'll sell them to Taiwan. The Saudis buy a lot of weapons.
Government keep it secret how much they on the buying.
It probably wouldn't be popular.
Yeah, too much, I think. That's why they keep it secret.
The arms industry is huge money. I've seen numbers. Well, I give you guys some examples. So what's interesting about this whole dynamic, and I don't know if the American would ever openly talk about this. The Koreans made a deal with the Saudis. So we're selling weapons now to the Saudis.
Poland,
Are we selling to Poland too?
Yeah, I think we just sold our jet.
Yeah, we're making fighter jets now. Oh, tanks too. I didn't know about that. So essentially now we're in competition with the Americans to see who can sell them, most jets and stuff like that. And one of the things that you guys know this, like Boeing's absolutely corrupt. That they're awful over there. I think we need to clean up Boeing. So I'm saying from American perspective, we do need to do something about Boeing, because like right now Airbus is killing us. Airbus makes better products. And you're talking about companies that now have more competition. China makes this kind of stuff as well.
Boeing,
What's that?
it's been a monopoly for years, so they didn't really.
Yeah, developer. Yeah. Well, there's been other issues as well. It's a long story with the Boeing thing. They tried to cut costs, right? So because how it works for our system, and now Elon would be in the sort of the side of Boeing. Okay. So Elon hates regulations. He hates it, right? So basically how it works is that if I develop a new type of plane, I have to make sure it's all safe.
Yeah.
I have to make sure all the pilots learn how to fly the plane, et cetera. So it's actually really difficult to change planes because you have to pass it through the government and then retrain the pilots. And so what they would do, and you probably know this when you fly on planes, they say, hey, we got a 777, deluxe. Hey, we have a 777 deluxe. Jumbo. Or we have a 777 super jumbo. Like they try to like keep it as close to the original design, but like make it bigger.
Nice.
But it's, you see what I'm saying? So then they don't have to get it through regulations the same way. Yeah.
A little bit upgrade every time.
Right. But not too different, or they'd have to try to go through all the regulations again. Right.
And the Airbus is, they trained it's completely new. It was like new their airplanes, so they started very new tech.
Right.
So maybe it's.
Well, with Airbus, it's interesting. Like what I've been seeing in the last time, and I think it's Airbus. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I want to say it's Emirates. There was a trade show recently, and they were showcasing all their new like kind of luxury boxes. I guess you call it, or luxury. They're not apartments, but just I don't know if you call it seating, but sort of luxury. Or you call it seating, luxury seating. But basically, they're beds, right? Like like a folding screen TV and stuff like that. So these are the kind of things that Boeing has to compete with, and I'm just trying to guys think about how like when you're talking about say protecting the American companies, you can't necessarily just protect an inferior product. So that's something that the Americans have tried to do for years. So cars is a good example. Just to be perfectly frank with you, Ford and Chevys are awful. I'm just honest with you. I'm talking about cars. Now the trucks are really popular for the Ford and Chevys, but their cars they just could never compete with the Japanese cars. They're just better. The Hondas and Toyotas are better. Now you got the Korean cars are coming in better. And then if you go to the luxury side, you have BMW. Yeah, I was to say that was more luxury side. You got BMWs, Mercedes, and if you want to talk about Porsches or whatever, right? There's a variety of things. It's the Americans still do pretty well in the truck design. SUV is pretty competitive, and and you get a very sensitive topic. Some Americans get really upset when you talk about this stuff. But younger kids feel a bit differently. Like they're not so Ford Chevy. It's different. It's when I was a kid, the Ford Chevy stuff was like you got to buy Ford or Chevy. But this goes back to the whole trade stuff again. So for someone like Trump, the more barriers you put up, the more expensive it is for you to get products from other countries, and the less choices that you have. I come from a more of a free trade perspective. I would like it that if I had access to products from all around the world,
Yeah, if you want to get, the make everything in America, you are willing to down your salary, like $5 an hour.
Well, the opposite would be you pay Americans full salary.
Yeah.
But then there's two things. You either pay a higher cost of good for American products. So a company that tried that was called American Apparel. If you guys remember this company, it completely failed. But we used to have one when I was at Penn, right in front of campus, and it was fine. I thought the clothes they weren't terrible. But they're just
basic.
Yeah.
T-shirt.
But they were like 4 times more than say Uniqlo. So it's just it's just from a consumer point of view. Not that I hate America, but when you look at your wallet and you're like, okay, I could buy American for 4 times more. Is it really better, right?
Yeah,
Now,
I help America make America, great.
Right. But it depends on the product. Because to be fair, I would say leather goods, handmade, is better than machine made. And so, in my opinion, but you like big.
Yeah, but you have a budget, $100 you have budget.
Right.
But you want to pay like 300, like handmade, made in USA, but you have other choice that you
Yeah.
like $10.
Okay. This topic is more my generation. So, for example, when I was at university, we had a big thing called there was a sweatshop movement. The sweatshop was basically the factories in Vietnam and Thailand, et cetera.
Yeah.
And we just said, that the workers aren't paid enough, and that universities should not sell those kind of products, right?
And there was a big movement when I was young. I don't think that exists anymore. I laugh because it's just, the average person doesn't really think about that. They're just like, I want cheaper products. I don't care where it comes from. But I'm just laying it out for you guys. And I don't know if today society, if Trump can actually convince, because I understand the Americans want jobs. I'm not against Americans having jobs. I'm not against it. But I'm just saying that's your competition. You have machines or cheaper labor around the world. And are you willing to pay a higher price? Now, the other one would be, wait, what's that?
Think of a CEO perspective.
That's the other point. Yeah. So, well, okay. The other point of view is a CEO could theoretically cut margins, right? Make very little profit, but what's that going to do to stock, right? So obviously, I think you guys already know the answer to this. So if you had to buy a Tesla and you found out that, like,
why Tesla initially built the factory in China and Apple same.
Yeah, Apple has factories in China, these kind of things. So, I just want to give you guys a different perspective that, it's funny, we don't talk about this that much anymore. It was an issue when I was a kid that the factories are over in other countries and they're basically slave labor.
Everyone does it these days.
Yeah, I don't know what changed in our culture to where the younger people don't care about that anymore. I don't know. And you guys can let me know if you're younger, if or young people, if you talk about this kind of issue, where like you're saying, like, for example, I only want to buy products that are made to where I know that the employees are safe. Yeah, we actually have a police helicopter behind us. I can show you guys this thing. It's just flying around here. There it is. I can barely see on camera.
Small.
Yeah.
Like here.
Yeah. But anyway, it's so distracting. But anyway, I don't know where it's going anyway. But going back to this issue though it was a big concern when I was a kid, right?
It was
What's that?
When USA Miss come to Korea, it was really big demonstration for a while.
What do you mean?
The USA beef.
Oh, beef. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because it's terrible.
Yeah, we think like if we eat the USA beef, we get the disease.
Right. That happened in UK as well, and I don't know about other countries. So I've mentioned it before on the channel and I know they get upset, but the food quality from the USA is not very good. Well, there's two things. One, I think they're sending us the old beef or the bad beef, so we're not getting the best cuts. And then also too, just the standards of food in the USA just are not as good. Here, if you want to buy Korean meat, it's actually like
just I was thinking, when the trade things change, this is really, some people really think it's like very like anti-trade. You are ruining our industry.
Well, here's the other thing. Talking about trade, it's a complicated issue. So sometimes you absolutely have to do tariffs. So here's an example of where I'm not against tariffs on China. Right? Here's an example. We have actually a big problem in many industries, and you could argue the car industry, but I'll just use shrimp as an example. They'll be heavy subsidized by the government, right? So they can like dump shrimp on the market for really cheap. It's getting money from the government, right? And so the shrimp will come in and wipe out other countries, shrimp farming. And so you kind of have to have tariffs on that to protect your own industry. So that's a situation where tariffs you're kind of forced to in order to make sure you're competitive. There's all the balance in this thing, right? Because I think if you go too heavy on tariffs, you're cutting out trade entirely, right? And you're forcing Americans or any country to buy local product that could be inferior. I give you an example. In China, this is a real problem. Baby food is not safe.
I think any food.
Yeah, Ye doesn't like China.
They even made a like paper eggs.
Yeah.
The kind of weird.
I don't disagree. So
pee.
That's pee in the beer. Pee in the beer. That's Qingdao beer.
Qingdao.
Yeah. So I actually don't disagree. So remember, we live in Korea. So like for people who don't know, China, Japan, Korea, we're all different countries, and we. Yeah.
I'm not.
No.
Sure.
He doesn't trust China. But that's my point though. Even Chinese people don't trust China. The funniest crap, and I always say, if you guys never been in China, you gotta go. It's the craziest place because
it's so big.
It's huge. Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
Every city's different. But Americans, when they think of communism, they think that it's not free, but it's not what you think it is. It's more feels like there's no laws there.
Yeah.
It's really weird. And I've been there. You've been there with me, but did you ever see when the merchants like run away? Did you ever see that? Like they have like their goods on the ground. And then so basically how it works is there'll be people selling stuff on the streets. Like for example, right now, basically we just have all these people selling stuff on the sidewalk or the boardwalk, right? So in China, there could be a situation where that's actually illegal, or the police want bribes to stay there, right? So someone will come down and be like, "Hey, the police are coming! The police are coming!" So everyone just packs up their tables, runs away, and then like 20 minutes later, the police are gone, and they come back to set up again. And it's like what? Or like again, when people think there's laws there, a rich person could just hit someone with their car, right? And then and even kill someone, run away, and like they just get away with it. Like I feel like there's no law. So it's not exactly what you think it is when we say, there's no freedom of speech, which is completely true, right? So there's complete lack of freedom, but freedom to hit someone with my car, it's like really, it's really hard to explain it. But anyway, I just want you guys a perspective of a different way of thinking about how Trump and has relationship with other countries around the world. And the current negotiation right now is Trump wants us to pay more money for the military. Again, the deal at the moment is we pay for the base, we pay for the maintenance. You bring your people, you bring your military.
He
Exactly.
signed new agreement last month, so you'll see he wants to break that.
He might. Who knows? Who knows what that and some of the Americans who like Trump, they say we like Trump because he's unpredictable and he like scares other people to like do things that he wants. And it's like from our perspective, it's like no, it's more like mafia. I don't want to be blackmailed, and we're just going to trade with another country. That's been the talk, and the other talk has been if the USA is going to be like that and be Trump, we're just going to form our own alliance with Japan, Philippines, Korea, maybe Taiwan, and we're just going to worry about ourselves. And if you're going to treat us like that, we're not going to buy your crap anymore, the USA, because you got to think about this. It's a two-way street, right? So if you want to buy our stuff, we're going to buy your stuff, and we trade freely.
That is true,
right? If you're but if you're not going to buy our stuff or charge us, make higher charge than ours, we're going to do the same with you, and this will cause slowdown and lower GDPs everywhere around the world. So be careful what you wish for, and good luck. Right. See you next time. Bye.